Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair agale ni hao chunishumme washmale Ohio Gonzaimus. Newton Morgan, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Halishuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho gracias, swabia, balli gare hosh galden and ayo sayo, khuyamora, chivato, chihal, kalimera, khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV Ball and watching world this morning on a blessed Friday morning over here. I mean, obviously, it's summers now, ladies and gentlemen. So for everybody and anywhere you may be, please make sure that you remember us all in your prayers. You know, remember our entire team, the country Pakistan itself, and all your family members. But before I say any further, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really lucky that I've been joined by my wonderful colleague, who happens to be Miss Eesha Rehan. Hello, Eesha. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Walaikum assalam, Shahzad. Thank you for the exciting introduction.
No, I want the same energy now, you know, so it can't be like that, you know, that I'm here on this energy and that you are here. Come on, let's do it again. Hello, Eesha. How are you doing today?
Walaikum salam, Shahzad. I am doing phenomenal today, especially
great.
because of your enthusiastic introduction and a very happy Jummah Mubarak to all our viewers. Do you know what I especially love about Jummah?
What?
It is that it does not only emphasize on prayer, but it also emphasizes on community and brotherhood and bringing us together as a nation.
Exactly, that's great. Thank you so much for this wonderful message, which is why now, ladies and gentlemen, since it is Friday, please make sure that you take out time and be there for the Jummah prayer or the congregation as well. But in addition to this, there's a very important day today, other than being Friday, and that is that it's World Malaria Day is being observed to raise awareness of malaria and generate support for the fight against the preventable and treatable disease. This year's theme, Reinvest, Reimagine, Reignite, resonates deeply within our communities, reflecting a collective commitment to fight malaria through innovation strategies and robust community engagement. This theme underscores the urgent need to address the stark inequities that persist in access to malaria prevention, detection and treatment services. The World Health Assembly instituted World Malaria Day in May 2007, and the purpose of the event is to give countries in affected regions the chance to learn from each other's experiences and support one another's efforts. Wow. You know, so ladies and gentlemen, please protect yourselves from machars this time around. You know, I think that's something, you know, the message needs to go out. And God forbid, if you do not feel perfectly well, please make sure that you get yourself tested because it's really common.
You know what I always experience in winters? I feel like mosquitoes and all the bugs just go away. And then in summers when they start coming back, it's so annoying. So yeah, make sure that you take all the precautions.
Exactly. And in addition to this, obviously, and you know, for the longest period of time, I kept on thinking to myself that, you know, if you're going to turn on the air conditioner and, you know, drop the temperature to 17 degrees, the mosquitoes will feel cold and they'll go away. And that's something which I've experienced for myself. You know, you got to try it. If the room is cold enough, there won't be any mosquitoes because that's why they exist in summertime as well. But in addition to this, there's another one that I would want to share. And because, you know, I've always been really keen observer of stars and, you know, those broken stars that we see and, you know, how they align and whatnot, you know, but there wasn't quite a lot, you know, when I was growing up to kind of learn. But now, ladies and gentlemen, today is that moment where people around the world will get a chance to see a rare astronomical phenomena on April 25th. For a brief period, Venus, Saturn and the crescent moon will come together, creating a perfect triangular shape with the moon's curved crescent. A shape will be created which will look like a smiling face. This alignment will be visible just before sunrise in the east, presenting astronomers and all others a moment to witness a visual wonder.
Wow. Shahzad, is this why you were especially chirpy and smiley today? Because you knew that the sky itself is going to be smiling down upon us.
Wow, wow, wow. I think that was a great connection, but I think I was smiling because it's Friday today. Yeah, exactly. But I think I was just trying to pull your leg. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Obviously, when I was growing up, I'm not talking about Eesha. I think, Eesha, which generation are you, by the way?
I think Gen Z. I like to categorize
you're Gen Z,
myself
then
as
which
Gen Z.
generation am I then?
I think a boomer?
No, I'm not boomer though, but yeah, I think I'll ask the expert over here. Yeah, millennials, yes, exactly. Thank you so much for saying that because there's almost a 14-year gap in between. But to get started, when I was in school or high school rather, ladies and gentlemen, I never knew what was happening with my life and I never knew what I will be doing. The only thing that I knew was that I want to be a fighter pilot. I went to, you know, to kind of give my test, failed 3 subjects out of 4 and couldn't make it. So I'm piloting a show now.
You made it
so I'm piloting a show now, alhamdulillah. But I do believe that, you know, that there are people out there who are doing this thing right. Because if in addition to this, I am to kind of speak about, we really need to speak about career readiness. We need to speak about emotional intelligence and, you know, how career counseling needs to be there, how there needs to be financial intelligence, how there needs to be financial inclusion. And to talk about all of this, we're very lucky that we've been joined by an educationist of the highest order. She is Miss Lubna Farid. Hello, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Wa alaikum salam. It's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much to your team for having me. And it's always a pleasure for me to give my inputs as far as education is concerned. So,
well, that's
thank
wonderful.
You.
Thank you so much for taking our time. So let's get started. I think first things first.
Yes.
What do we mean by career readiness?
So career readiness is something, as you just mentioned, you know, Gen Z and the millennials, they really require it.
Okay.
You know, because if you put yourself into perspective when you were a student or when I was in school, there was nothing such as career counseling or career readiness. It was either you'll be a doctor or an engineer, you'll take sciences or, you know, art subjects, and that is it. So we didn't have much variety to choose from.
True.
And over the period of time, you know, I think education has taken, there's been a huge paradigm shift, I would say, as far as education is concerned and how we approach education these days. It is no longer about passing an exam. It is no longer just about getting an A grade. But it is about future readiness. It is about the skill sets that, you know, we embed in these students from the onset, from the very beginning. And I feel academics, books, curriculum has always been there. It was there when we were studying as well. But now it goes beyond that, you know, and that is where I think we come in as educationists. To help students steer in the right direction.
And that's what I would want to kind of tap on as well, because, you know, I keep on thinking, because imagine that, you know, while we were in class, we were studying algebra, we were studying integration, we were studying periodic table, and none of them has been really handy for me to use in my practical life. So first of all, why are we using that curriculum? You know, because if other than for you to read and write is something beyond within the curriculum, please explain that I was unable to understand. And do you think that we really need to adopt to newer techniques of education and critical thinking processes and how things need to be done and how we really need to kind of make sure that we have a brain which actually supports us to think about different ideas when you're in a problem?
Exactly. So, you know, problem solving, critical thinking, curiosity, managing yourself, you know, managing situations. I think these are all skills that have to be there, you know. Your academic expertise, definitely, it's required. I mean, you have to go through the regular, you know, primary years, secondary years, and your high school, and then university. But simultaneously, you can't just do away with your life skills. You cannot just do away with your soft skills. They have to be in place simultaneously with your academic skills. It is not possible that you are scoring an A star and have zero you know, basic soft skills. That will not help you in the job market. You know, what are the job markets looking at? They're looking at whether, you know, you're resilient enough. Do you manage your time? Are you aware of your surroundings? Are you a people's person? Are you a team leader? Can you work with people? So how are all these skills going to be embedded? You know, we have to work on them from the very onset. So the day a child comes into perhaps high school, I would not just say high school, but in school, I think we should start working on these soft skills.
From early years.
Because I feel we need to, you know, have learners who are individuals who are not just good academically, but are good individuals and are able to give to the community in the long run. You see, they have to have empathy, they have to be compassionate, they have to know how to work with everyone, they have to be good human beings.
You emphasized the importance of soft skills very wonderfully. So I want to ask that, you know, since an early age, in early years, IEYC, the curriculum is supported a lot. It includes group activities, classroom activities, which help all the kids come together and work as a team and develop these soft skills. So what about in high school? I feel like the only thing that was embedded in us was to go in societies and develop these soft skills. But how can it be introduced in the curriculum, you know, with class participation and group activities? I don't see that happening a lot.
So you see, high school is quite rigid when it comes to academics because the students are totally focused on their CIEs and their O levels and A levels and, you know, and college applications because they know these 4 years are the make or break it kind of situation. But alongside that, we do try our best to, you know, ensure that students are a part of clubs and societies. They are part of entrepreneurship, you know, activities. They have business ideas that they come forth with. We have job fairs for our you know, students from a very early age. This is because we work on their portfolios. Profile building, portfolio building is something we work on from the onset as they step into high school, and they build upon that. So these students are quite, aware of what they want to do, and as a school we try to push, whatever their unique selling point is. I mean, I think a USP is very important, and I think everyone has that. And we try to bring that about. Someone could be very good at a STEM program.
Can you share an example of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a student who was taking sciences, and from the very beginning he was working also on a Formula 1 car.
Oh.
Yes, and we found out that he was doing this, and we as a school really helped him and pushed him. He completed that car towards his graduation, and then he worked in collaboration with NUST. And finally, was.
And I do believe that we had them over here on the show as well.
Yes, I believe you did invite them as well.
To speak about the cars.
So this is just one example.
And
then we have many other students, who actually discover what their niche is, and they go into the fields as they want to.
And you support them as
and
a
we
school,
support them throughout, so we have different platforms where we sort of help them, find out what that skill is and what that niche is.
And that's great.
We also, try our best to provide internships during the summer. So every summer, almost 50% of our students are going for an internships. I think that is very important, where there's actual, they're in that, field themselves, working with professionals.
That's, I think, the best learning. Is very integral.
Yes, and we have, in different industries coming regularly, professionals coming in for talk shows, for interviews, for panel discussions, and I think that is what learning is all about. They have to learn from real life examples, not just from books.
I do believe that it's great as well, but there's this one shift that we would want our education system to kind of bring about, and that is that ever since we were growing up, or you were growing up, we did see that how our parents would always be like, beta padhoge nahi to naukri nahi milegi, padhoge nahi to naukri nahi milegi. I think we need to have a shift in this mindset where I continuously keep on telling my daughters that, Putra, please make sure that you do something of your own, that you employ other people, rather than giving them a mindset कि यार बड़े होके career में आपने नौकरी ढूंढनी है. Let's give them a way where they become entrepreneurs, where they become people of what they think, people of their own mind and heart. How do you think that these days education system, these soft skills, emotional intelligence, financial intelligence will come with time? You really need to step out in the market. No matter if it's an internship, obviously it'll probably give you a bit of confidence, but towards the end over here in our country, unfortunately, we need hands-on experience because there's no institute who's actually teaching you those skills. So how do you think that we can create this shift within the education systems where now they're not preparing people for careers, looking for jobs, but rather people who will employ 2,000 more people, 5,000 more people, probably from world over, and that's what the world is doing.
So basically, student-run programs, student-run initiatives, which help them, make their teams, know how to lead a team, know how to work with people. That is very important. And I also feel, we really sort of emphasize on success stories. We do not teach our children about failures.
True.
Have we ever given examples of somebody failing?
No.
No. You see, that is where your resilience and perseverance comes in.
Wonderful point.
You have to fail in order to bounce back up.
True.
And our children badly get stuck when they fail. They don't know how to come back out of it, you see. So we have to let them know that failure is okay. A child who fails a math test and reappears in that math test will learn more as compared to the formulas he's learned.
Exactly.
Right? So I think failure, one aspect is that I have seen students doing way better once they've failed. I've had students, where they were forced to take certain subjects, the parental pressure is always there. And I always try to counsel parents not to put that parental pressure, because let the students enjoy subjects that they have a passion for. Let them do what they want to do. They will always excel.
Exactly.
And we have had cases where students under pressure take up perhaps sciences and they're totally not a sciences person. And they have had to repeat, or maybe they flunked badly and they repeated the same grade level and scored all A's because they learned more, they took subjects of their choices, not under any pressure. So I think it's something that the parent, the school and the child has to do collectively. It is not to be just like a parent's choice or the school's choice.
Exactly.
You see, at the end of the day, it is the student who is, you know, the person looking for a career, and it's his future.
You know, you have highlighted such an important point, because you know, this same thing happened with my sister when she started her A-level journey. So my parents wanted her to become a doctor, and she took the sciences subjects. So it was so awful because she could not complete it, and then in the end it took her such a long time to clear that A-levels. And the same thing happened with me. However, I was able to choose business subjects. No, I took business subjects in A-levels, seeing my sister's outlook, and you know, seeing how she it was difficult for her. So then it helped me choose the right subject.
I don't know whether it helped you or not, but you might have the potential to be a doctor, but you didn't go because you saw your sister that, okay, it was difficult or challenging for her. So I think, you know, there's not one formula which is going to fit everybody. You know, so everybody needs to look for it. That's where we say that counseling plays a role. That's what Miss Lubna was saying, that the students need to go to them, you know, talk to them.
And not everyone can fit in one box. You know, some kids excel in arts, sports, math, and you cannot just mold each child into one box.
Exactly. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for, you know, hitting the nail on the head. But thank you so much, Ms. Lubna, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, in days to come for Pakistan, all I need is people with business ideas, entrepreneurs, going beyond borders, you know, probably having offices in 190 countries and whatnot. That's the kind of people that I want from, or that's the kind of passion that I want for my future generations. I do not want them to be looking for a job in a government office or somewhere else. I mean, that's not bad. I'm not saying that that's not good as well, but please make sure that you have a passion inside you which drives you to do something which is more innovative, which is something to do with, you know, catering to inequalities, which has to do with Pakistan's economic prosperity. But while we are over here, I think in addition to where I'm speaking about Pakistan's prosperity, it's not just economic. You know, it's at the front of sports, and yes, exactly, that was Miss Lubna in front of our camera. It's perfectly all right. But yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is that where I'm saying that, you know, that we have to be at every front. Imagine that Mr. Usman Wazir has done it for Pakistan once again, where Pakistani boxing star Usman Wazir knocked out India's Asfaran in the first round of the highly anticipated ranking bout in Bangkok on Thursday, extending his unbeaten streak to 16-0. Usman Wazir recorded a stunning victory over India's Iswaran, winning by technical knockout just 1 minute and 41 seconds into the first round of their international ranking fight at World Siam Stadium. Dubbed the Asian boy, Wazir entered the ring with a perfect record and wasted no time asserting his dominance. Wow, congratulations, Usman Wazir. And in addition to this, obviously, Pakistan Super League's 10th edition is underway, where Peshawar Zalmi beat Lahore Qalandars by 7 wickets. You know,
finally, you know, yesterday we were talking about how we're supporting Peshawar Zalmi, and we're finally able to do it.
And you're wearing their color today as well. And Peshawar Zalmi, I mean, look at them. You know, so they've played 5 or 6 games. They've only won 2. In one match, they won by 120 runs, and in the second game, they won by 7 wickets. Wow. So PTV Sports is actually telecasting the entire Pakistan Super League 10th edition live. Earlier, Peshawar Zalmi captain Babar Azam won the toss and put Qalandars into bat. Batting first, Lahore Qalandars were bowled out for 129 runs in 19.2 overs. Qalandars' batting struggled from the start as they lost 6 wickets for just 44 runs. And in addition to this, ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's going to be Saud Shakil coming across David Warner. So that makes it Quetta Gladiators versus Karachi Kings today. And yeah, please make sure that you tune into PTV Sports to catch all the action. And yeah, I'll be live on PTV Sports from 5 p.m. till 6 p.m. to do the match analysis. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. Karachi looks in formidable form in terms of Hassan Ali, David Warner, Kane Williamson joining them. I think for people of Pakistan, it's a good news for all of these international cricketers to come in. But that's not the only international thing that has actually come into Pakistan. I'll come back to this. I like how shukr alhamdulillah, I've been conducting my shows recently. I don't want to talk too much about it. But where we spoke about international people coming in, I think for a country to prosper economically, we do need foreign direct investments. We need people who come to the country and invest in our resources. So imagine, first things first, you need to hear this out. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif on Tuesday said that if Pakistan managed to harvest its minerals reserves that value trillions of dollars, it could allow the country to say farewell to global financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund. Wow, I think that's a great news for all of us to listen to as he delivered his address at the Pakistan Minerals Investment Forum 2025. The two-day forum hosted by Pakistan commenced at the Jinnah Convention Center in Islamabad. The country plans to unveil a unified framework to promote mining and mineral investment opportunities. We really wanted to kind of talk about it, and we're very lucky that the gentleman who's at the helm of affairs is with us, alhamdulillah, and he will be telling us whether how rich Pakistan is going to be in coming days. You know, the figure that the ballpark figure that I've heard is probably we might have more than $6 trillion of mineral reserves in the country. How are we tapping into this segment is something that we would want to talk about. Very lucky that we've been joined by Mr. Shahid Iqbal Qureshi, who happens to be the chairman, PGJDC and Federal MOI&P. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me over.
First thing first, you look dapper, mashallah. You look great. I think let's get started from here. So, sir, I think first I would want you to paint a picture for our fellow Pakistanis, may them be overseas Pakistanis, people in Pakistan. Where are we headed?
Okay, let me get started. I guess the Mineral Forum was brilliant. I would definitely say with the confidence, because the kind of participation we had, that gives a big, breakthrough, and the message been passed on that we are all set, we are all charged. The international community is all ready to come in and invest.
True.
So I guess with that, we see this, especially the mineral sector, which has lots of potential, as the Prime Minister already mentioned.
True.
It's not just the numbers exaggerated, but these are the real numbers. Because and the minerals from rare to metal to rare metal,
Iron, lithium, copper, rare metals.
So we have everything that's available here. And so it's just a time to exploit our resources by bringing in investors, giving them a confidence from our local investors to international investors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we see if when you kind of give a confidence to your local people, especially the business community, they automatically bring in the international investors.
Exactly.
So that's a chain reaction, and the government is always there to facilitate. So we are all set to facilitate, and I look forward.
Exactly.
You know how Shahzad highlighted that our mineral resources are worth more than $6 trillion. So how is this going to shape our future landscape for Pakistan? You know, are we going to get out of the IMF debts and the infrastructure and economy? How is that going to help us?
Well, yes, $1 trillion sounds definitely something big. I mean, you're like out of trouble next morning. But you see, that takes a long time. You start investing. These minerals have always been there. It's not, they're just not new here. You see, Reko we talk of Reko a lot. That's been there for, decades together.
Yes, exactly.
And we have just explored few blocks. And one block cost is like almost $1.5 trillion. So we have 24 blocks. True. You just imagine this is working on the gold. So it's not just the Balochistan. We have the mineral reserves starting off from Azad Jammu Kashmir to Gilgit-Baltistan to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, and even in the Punjab, we recently discovered the iron ore.
Wow.
So these discoveries are constantly been there. It's just about connecting things. And I guess I must mention here, when the SIFC has come into play, they have put up a kind of a facilitation. That's a one-window operation. That's ease of business providing to the business community and the public-private partnership. Naturally, for the bigger projects and all, you need to have big players.
True.
So we are kind of now working in a short-term and a long-term plan, right? So short term, when I call it, I mean, for the matter of fact, the gemstone industry, the gemstones we have, I mean, that is a short term industry I see, and that's the smallest part of the mineral, means like of $6 billion. So that's a small thing for us. I mean, even if we exploit those, the 50% of it, we're sorted. So I guess we are all set, and we are looking forward.
Alhamdulillah, and it's great, and for everybody who's actually watching us, because sir, we're not only in Pakistan, but we go out in 46 different countries, and I do believe that people out there now finally do realize that at what front Pakistan is. Alhamdulillah, I mean, just after the conference, we've had $370 million of MOUs and pledges and agreements which are being signed in terms of exporting the minerals out of the country. And our Prime Minister to say that, that the final product will be leaving the borders of Pakistan, so there needs to be a lot of value addition, because there's a lot of wastage as well. So I think all of it will be put to use. That's great. But I think that where you said that, okay, it will take time, what you're trying to say is that we really need to build the infrastructure around it. Now, when we talk about the infrastructure around it, I do know about these copper plants that we have over here and the value addition that they do to whatever minerals are coming or the copper is coming to them. What is your perspective of the infrastructure, and how are we going to go about it? Is it going to be very organized, or is it going to be itna tera, itna mera, something of that sort? Because that's where we kind of lose it, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you just mentioned the value addition is the way forward, and bringing in technology at the same time, because that's where we lack.
And where are we looking at, to bring in that sort of innovation and expertise and technology?
Yeah, we are. Like, this is what the whole the point is, the whole program is moving forward, is like bringing in international investors, because you see the technology they're using, we are pretty behind all that. So bringing in international player means that they're bringing in new technology. And once you're value adding, this is where we've been lacking. And once we started value adding, the same thing which you sell abroad for like $100,000, you sell it for probably half the price.
True.
So working on that, and that's a big FX income you're losing on. So
and that's where the problem lies as well, because imagine what happens is that when that one particular individual who actually owns that technology gets to know that, that we need him or her, that's where they start to come to a bargain. And, when it comes to a bargain where they know that you're reliant on you, the deal is kind of imbalanced, right? How do you think that the government really needs to acquire all of these technologies and then have widespread and do it probably under their control?
Well, I tell you, I wouldn't mind that too. As if but a businessman, you need to be on a win-win situation.
True.
End of the day, you make money, businessman makes money.
That's
so
fine.
The state makes money, the businessman makes money. So it's just about providing them an environment.
All right.
So once the environment is there and the infrastructure is in place, and you're all set to
So how do you think,
export.
sir, that I as a common man can actually be a part of this industry now? Because the infrastructure needs to be so volatile that everybody who actually kind of wakes up today and be like, let me explore my opportunities. Let's see what the government can actually provide me, or the public institute, because it's going to be a public-private partnership anyways. That's fine. How do you think any individual, because over here in universities, we've never heard about any courses about minerals, metrology setup, all of these things. So all of these things need to come in if you want this industry to boom, right?
Certainly. I would say, like you very rightly mentioned now, the metallurgy departments, we have few, we have good universities which are doing it, but I guess now realizing what kind of a scope we have for the future, we need to probably focus or concentrate or work more on these, probably establish more institutions, right?
Exactly.
Now coming to your question that how would a common person come in, you see the mining business is not, it's not that easy, but I mean, it's a very challenging business. It's globally very challenging. So what happens, I usually friends or the business community or even individual coming up to me and asking, I would always suggest coming into a trading. You learn the trade first.
True.
That's where it all starts. That's a step one. I mean, you just can't land into the mining, exactly. Just learn the trade, see how it goes, and the bigger player plays big and the smaller plays small.
True.
So everybody's contributing. So there is lots of room and space for that.
I thank you so much for saying that. It has actually kind of opened up a window in my brain.
No.
And just yesterday while I was preparing for it, I was like, that's the potential where even Pakistani really needs to kind of tap into it and become a part of the industry, and that's how it's going to get better. But thank you so much, sir, for joining us. It's it obviously is a very promising future for Pakistan.
Thank you
we
very
really
much.
want it to happen with all the political stability and economic stability that the country needs. And we hope that in days to come we'll be having this conversation once you have garnered probably $10 trillion or $20 trillion, inshallah. So we'll have you back then.
Thank you very much.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us, and for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to head out towards a short break. But once you will come back, we are going to be in conversation with all of those big players which Shahid Saab was referring to, because imagine for all of those billionaires to be here in the country we call Pakistan is something which shows whether how big the potential can be. After a short break, don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Earlier, we were in conversation with gentlemen who actually spoke about, the conference which has just taken place and pledges of $370 million memorandum of understanding and agreements have been done in terms of minerals to be exported out of the country. Well, I do believe it's a great front, but, to give you a very legitimate example, we're very lucky that we've been joined by foreign investors over here in Pakistan who are ready to invest with billions of rupees to kind of exploit the market of minerals in the country. We're very lucky that we've been joined by the Chairman General Association of Zhejiang Provincial Enterprise Pakistan, Mr. Wang. Hello, ni hao, han hao, Nina.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. Joining him, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Chen, Chief Executive Officer, International Mining Project Private Pakistan. Ni hao, sir.
Ni hao, ni hao.
Thank you so much for joining us. And last but not the least, on my right-hand side, we're very lucky that we've been joined by a very young and enterprising Chief Executive Officer of Hangzhou Lubi Trading Co. Limited, China, Mr. Fang Zihao. Thank you so much. Ni hao, han hao, Nina. Yeah, wonderful to have you, gentlemen. So let's get started. Eesha, you have a question?
All right, since you all have been very heavily invested in Pakistan's mining sector, we want to know what are the opportunities that you have come across and what are the challenges that you guys face?
Okay, so let's start one by one. First, Pakistan is so potential market for the mineral and the mining side. Okay, so I can say that is only one, last piece of virgin land for this field. Okay, if you're talking about African country, they are doing well, they export well, they are doing the concentrated well. Rest of Western country we no need to mention it. Okay, for China is also. So Pakistan is the last piece of cake, pure, clean piece of cake. So it definitely is very potential this area. Nobody has developed well. So my words is that it's a virgin land. We should come here.
Exactly.
Secondly, as you mentioned, the challenges. And from my past experience, there's a lot of challenges for the foreign investors, especially our Chinese, to invest over here. Since it's a virgin, so the infrastructure here is not good. I'm honestly speaking that, okay? Electricity is a problem, and sometimes traveling is, for us is a problem, okay? So
exactly, and certainly we do, it looks like, alhamdulillah, that the government is ready to promise that for whatever challenges that you come across will be overcome, and certainly it will take a little bit of time for the infrastructure to be built around the mining setup as well.
Yeah.
But in addition to this, other than, the electricity and all of these issues, what extent of support do you require from the federal and the provincial and the local governments so that we have a process in place where there are no challenges and there are no hindrances and that there's ease of doing business?
If talking about what hope we can from the government side or some organization like the Chamber of Commerce organization side, we hope government could be provide or not provide, introduce us some honest partners, hard-working partners. This is the most important one. Rest of them we can do it ourselves. Like the electricity, we can use in the generators, no problem. Okay.
Or solars.
Infrastructures like road, we can make it ourselves.
Yeah.
So the most hope is that the habit of this businessman who is handling with should be honest and trustable and hardworking. This is most challenges.
All right, a lot of Chinese investors have emphasized on the fact that you will employ a lot of local Pakistani workers and employees for yourselves. So how integral it is for us and you guys to upskill the youth and the workers of Pakistan, and how are we going to take these steps to teach them these skills to get involved in the mining sector?
Okay, this is one of the challenges, right? So for Pakistani, local labor is very necessary. Most of the mine we are not allowed to visit. So that means we need the locals as much as we can. So, but it should be step by step. So I have invested mine recently, okay? And before my investment, they already do it themselves. But when I saw the videos from there, because I can't visit myself, so they don't have the safe cap.
Yes, the safety, the
safety
operating
options.
procedures, yes.
So health options. That is lead mine. And I do talk to my local manager. I said, provide them the milk daily basis because lead is a little poison for the health. So provide them to the milks to move this. Okay.
Exactly.
So it should be step by step. We can't do it by one day.
Exactly.
So it takes time.
Yeah, so thank you so much for saying that because this is reassuring that it can't really be overnight and we're trying to build an infrastructure around it and it will take a little bit of time and I hope that it's a little bit of time and there needs to be standard operating procedures. But I'm going to pose a question to Mr. Chenbo as well, if you can help me with how Mr. Chenbo feels to be in Pakistan investing in the mining setup over here because he happens to be the Chief Executive Officer of the International Mining Project, Private Pakistan. So please can you ask him how has been his experience to be over here in Pakistan and invested within the mining sector?
OK， 他问你就是在巴基斯坦这个矿业投资的方面，你有什么样的经验？
对，我们在巴基斯坦已经投资了那个很多年的时间。现在对巴基斯坦这个资源这个发展前景的话，我们是非常的那个看好，所以我们一直坚持在这边一起就是不断的那个扩大那个投资。
Okay. So he has been invested for the mining sector continuously for several years. It is 5 to 10 years. So he, from start he got some problem with the local community issues, leaseholders, government side. But if he, since he's going deep, he's well connected with local communities, local societies, local laborers and families like this, government as well. So he's feeling better and better now.
Wow, I think that's great, and that's exactly the way to do it as well. So I'm going to move on to Mr. Fang now, Fang Zihao, who happens to be the Chief Executive Officer of the Hangzhou Lubi Trading Company Limited, China. Can you please ask him what do they specialize in and how will they contribute to our mining sector?
OK， 他问你啊，就是你怎么样进入到这个巴基斯坦这个矿业这个领域来？你是想做什么？
因为汪先生是我的教父啊，因为他在这里，所以我觉得我想在这里来那个了解考察这个矿业。那之前汪先生跟我聊了很多，我希望就是从我最初的所做的铜和那个铅锌开始，去先做贸易，然后后面来做建厂，来提高我们巴基斯坦的冶炼行业。
Okay, let me brief you. He's saying that he's my younger brother and he's my ex-employer. Okay, from the same investment group.
Yeah.
So according to my introduction, he come here.
Wonderful.
Since a lot of years back, he dreamed to be Pakistan. Okay.
Wow.
Then his field for the he will be start from the copper and the lead trading from here. He will be purchasing from local market.
Wonderful.
And also his family and his very close family friends, they are running very huge processing plant in China. So he also planning to invest a plant here, processing plant here. That's his plan.
I think that's great, but thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us, and it's lovely to be in conversation with you as well, which is why I'm going to come back to Mr. Wangchi now. Mr. Wangchi, what I've seen all over the world is that, wherever I go, whenever I'm traveling internationally, I would always meet, our brothers from China. No matter which part of the country or which country or which subcontinent I'm in, I'll always come to see them. And I would want you to kind of give a piece of advice. Now imagine that, alhamdulillah, you've got so many investors at your back that they're ready to invest billions or trillions of dollars, only if you ask them to do so. Wonderful. But with all of these challenges that, Mr. Chenbo actually spoke about, or you spoke about, and to build this infrastructure, can you teach us one thing that, okay, how to do business in the rest of the parts of the world other than your country? And how have Chinese mastered the skill of going to any part of the world and getting business done?
Okay, so as you're saying that your time right now, Pakistan's economic, or business environment, like same like the 40 years back of China, when we just open the window, open the door for the world. So there's a cheater, liar. Many people was cheated, foreign investment cheated. So it's obviously from start you are poor, you don't have money, you want to took the quick money.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone had want selling the piece of cake, small piece of cake for highest price.
Yeah.
That is totally wrong. Okay. You will try the minimum profit, minimum profit.
Yeah.
Then you will get a long-term contract,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
And you serve your client, your buyer very well. You be honest, be on time.
Be honest, be non-greedy,
Exactly.
and focus on minimum profits.
Yeah.
So I think what he's trying to tell us, over here is that, please go for the eggs, not for the chicken.
Yes, right.
I think that's what we all need to do. But just towards the end, because we only left with one last minute, how have you found to be in Pakistan? Have you enjoyed our cuisine over here? And certainly, we will continue to keep on talking about businesses and how it's flourishing, and we'll have you over again, on our show to speak about it. But how has been Pakistan for you?
It is, I've been here 13, 14 years, right?
MashaAllah.
So it's tough to run in business. I have better experience for the business. But I still keep here. People asking, Mr. Wang, since your business is not running so much well, why are you still here? This problem, okay? So I'm saying that you can't find any other country rather than Pakistan. Everyone treat you like a brother, real brother.
Wonderful.
I'm not saying by words is brother.
Thank you so much.
So I'll give you some small stories,
Sure.
okay? Once I took some, my Chinese friends, this guy came from African country. I
Okay.
took him from the airport. On the way, my tire was broken. Two local Pakistani guy, the truck driver and his brother, stopped behind us. And we don't know how to fix the tire, how to change the tire, okay?
Yeah.
He's jumping out. And they took the mobile, running to us. Then the two Chinese from African country, they suddenly get this. They are thinking people are robbing him.
Oh.
I said, hold. Don't worry, okay? And this guy just running for us, may I take a picture with you?
Oh.
She's showing something, he had met
Yeah,
some
I think-
Chinese.
Yeah, so.
And then
Yeah.
he repaired our tire without changing any fee.
Well, that's exactly how our hospitality is. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. For everybody who's out there, Jummah Mubarak, look after yourself.